Hey, and good morning. We are back with AR's Tales, aka the A.R.T podcast. I am A.R. Minabal. As always, we are sponsored by One Audio. One Audio. The power of music, you got the gear to use it. Put up a bing. Uh, Website oneaudio.com. Affordable, professional grade audio equipment. You go to checkout, use the code special AR for some gift codes, some discounts, and a whole bunch of other goodies. Now, on to what we're going to talk about today. Today is going to be a little bit of an unorthodox episode. What I am going to be talking about today is, since I'm in the heat, since I'm in the thick of it with as far as everything related to formatting and just rounding out the editing to get everything ready for the book, all the final little details and little graphical nuances to get just perfect in order for the release coming out in a little over a month. So what it is that we're going to be focusing on today is actually text breaks. So now, a little background on what text breaks are. Text breaks are the little graphical, sometimes there'll be a line, or sometimes you'll see like little 4 periods or dots in some cooler, I can't say cooler, but in some newer books that have a little more interior design in them, you'll see maybe 4 little squares or 4 little triangles, or maybe even if the person is very intense, they'll put something related to the book or some type of fire, some type of element of water. It's limitless what you can do with it. And what they are is they represent, scene changes within a chapter, or perhaps a point of view change, or maybe you're saying a story within a story type of thing. You want to have a text break to differentiate between it. That is what text breaks are. And what we're going to be talking about today, and actually not just talking about, but I'm going to be showing you. So there's going to be a little more of a video aspect. We're going to see how that translates into the podcast, but we're going to go into it. And I'm actually going to run you through it, how I am going to handle the text breaks for my book, Allegory of the End, Volume 1. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen to my handy dandy Inkscape. So as you can see, I have Inkscape open. Completely new. I haven't done anything with it. This is exactly how it would look when you initially download the program and just open it up, new file. Now, what I like about Inkscape is that, one, it is really easy to use, and it's free. It's just complete free, open source, really good resource to use for anybody that's coming up, especially in the indie sphere. Now, first things first, what we're going to do right now is we're going to basically make a mock page in order to set up how a text break is going to look. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this little setting right here. Again, I'm in document properties. So just to go back a little bit, went to file, document properties, and we're going to go ahead and change the custom size right here to inches and set this to 5/8. So now we have our 5/8. So now I always like to go ahead and double check just to make sure it's saved properly. 5/8, beautiful. Now, to zoom in, you can actually just use the plus and minus on your numpad, which I really like a lot. Now, what we do from here is we actually go ahead and create a little mock page with text and everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this little segment from Allegory of the End. I have the PDF open. So I'm just going to take a paragraph. That's fine. Then we're going to open up a text thing. And again, all to do, this is just for the people that are completely unaware for this software, haven't used it before. You just click on the little text object button, just looks like an A, right? You click on it and then you just type. Now, obviously that size is way too big. So we're just gonna bring that down to, I think 10 works. 10 is what I have it. So again, we're gonna mirror exactly how I have it in the book. So I have Merriweather. Let me just find that. Oh, wait a minute, it's acting funny now. There we go. Merriweather. But I don't have Merriweather on this computer, of course. Well, you know what? I'll even run through how to get Merriweather real quick. So let me go ahead and show you what Merriweather looks like. Just had to show my beautiful face for a second. What's that? Just getting that up right here. Bop, bop, bop. Okay. Let me show you what Merriweather looks like. So all we do, if you don't know how to spell it, but I actually do believe that Merriweather is a Google font. Yeah, it is, exactly. So you can just get it right off of Google, NBD. Download family, save file, being bow, clicky, clicky, open that up. And you open up the file, well, you right click the file and you make sure to extract all. You extract it, you highlight the entire thing except for the text file that's attached, and then you just install for all users. Perfect. So now I have Merriweather open. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and go back to Inkscape. We're gonna save the file. Save it as text break mockup. Save it to desktop. Bingo bongo, right? Save it. Exit it because we do have to reset the program anytime you add new font, just to make sure that it's actually in the software. So we're gonna go ahead and go back, reopen it. Should have had this done before, but sorry, I didn't know. Open recent, text break mockup, go right back in, and Merriweather. Beautiful. Now I believe I have 11 point. So beautiful. We move it about to where it needs to be. Okay. Now you use these little things right here, the plus and minus, in order to really fine tune what you want in case where you place it using your mouse is a little, off center. You use these little pluses right here, as well as the Y if you want to bring it down or up in order to actually fine tune its placement. So we kind of put it right there. And you can also edit the text within the software. So we're going to just go ahead and actually create a space there for our text break. Now I think it actually might require maybe 2 spaces, not just 1. So we're gonna go ahead and add that in there. Okay, so that's 3 spaces. See how that looks in a second. And let me break up these paragraphs as well. Again, the text is going to be a little out of the ball here, but we're doing this just to get it just right, just to get an idea of how the text break will actually look in the book itself. Pardon me for lack of sound right now should probably edit in some type of background and music or something for this episode. I might just do that. Why not? Get a little production quality thing going on in here. Especially after that cough. I'm sorry, it's not the COVID, I promise. So now we have a decent look of what it's going to be, decently mocked up. Well, I mean, the text is a little out squared out, but I mean, that is more typesetting type of stuff. But right now, we're going to worry about the text break itself. So we have the idea. And again, just for actual purposes, you know, you will have to move the text down a little bit more. I would say that the text would probably have to fit within this space. Down the line here, for example, if I put a square, I would say where this black square ends is most likely where you want the text to end, because you have to have the bleed. And no, what is it called? Basically, when it's actually printed and the book folds, you don't want the text to be bleed out too heavily to the binding. So you want to have just a little extra space on the side in order to account to that. So an actual design, interior design, which I probably will make a video for it next week and the week following that when I get into a little bit of InDesign and Scrivenger. But for the most part, again, this video is just going to cover text design. Well, text break design. So we're going to go ahead and create the rudimentary one that we talked about before, which was the 3 square with the little triangle one. Now I like that because it almost represents a mountain range, which I think can, for a lot of different lores and different books, it can kind of be useful. So it's one of those things that it seems like it's minor, but it can actually tie into the book pretty well. So we're gonna make one of those right now. Now, again, for size, don't worry about size. So just to restart, in order to make a shape, you go, well, not to make a shape, but to make a triangle specifically, you go to the polygon, which is the 3rd shape down. You click on regular polygon instead of star, because you can make stars, and you make the corners for 3, for, in this case, triangle. So when you click on, and in order for you to go back and actually click any object, which the hotkey is for, the hotkey is S. You just click on it to actually be able to move it around and be able to manipulate it. So when you click on it and you click on it again, is when it gives you the option to change the angle and the direction. The first click is just for position and size and whatnot. Second click actually allows you to mess with the angle. So what we're going to do now is going to make it as straight as we can possibly make it, which is pretty easy because you can just see that that the shape lines up perfectly with a dotted line at the bottom. So we do that, and now we have a shape that we basically are pretty happy with. So what we do is we can copy that, and we make 3 cousins basically. And what we do is if we're happy with the size of it anyway, because we can easily make the width a little bit longer in order to mimic a mountain range, for example, 25. So the base is a little bit bigger now, so it kind of represents a mountain a little bit more. And just to make it a little more exaggerated, we could make it 30, but you know what? I think I like 25. Maybe we'll make it, call it even, call it 27.5. That's not too bad. So we'll do that and we'll basically mimic it. And what we can do is we can maybe even leave 1 as 25 and make its base just a little bit higher at 19.25. And then right here, and there is a method to the madness, just hold on for just un momento. And you know what? We're actually gonna make that the same now that I think about it. Instead, we'll just change its base to be a little higher at 22. Well, its height to be a little higher. So what we do now is we put all these things together. And the way to do that in a little more simple aspect is you can just take it right here. You take its Y positioning, which is what we want here. You copy and paste it, and you just put it right into the Y positioning for what you want. And then you just use the same tools as before in order to bring it down to the X level that you want. So for this, we're gonna bring it down around here. I think that's pretty good. And we'll use that as a tracker, right? So that first little arrow is perfectly within the main triangle, the main mountain range, right? Then we do the same thing right here. Perfect. You see? Now we bring this down in order so it's in line. Now the reason it didn't take exactly like that is because that shape is a little bit bigger, which I should have expected, honestly. But what do you want from me? Again, putting it up is pretty easy because all you have to do is make sure that it lines up perfectly, that the bottom dashed lines match up perfectly with this main kind of mountain range that we have here. Now, I think actually it would be better if we bring it back up a little bit. Perfect. And the beauty here is that since these guys are the exact shape, we can just copy and paste. Boom, boom. And now you have kind of a mountain range looking thing. Now you can even go ahead and separate it however you want. But what you do now is you highlight all of these, you group them. And what we do is we can scale them down to whatever size you want. So right now they're at 60. I assume they would probably make sense at 15 or so. And bow. Look at that. Now, that is not on the money yet, but it's not a bad proof of concept. What we do is make that maybe down to 12. Boom. Now, again, that's not bad, but I want something a little more sci-fi derivative here. So we're going to put that to the side. And again, just to show off how you can further manipulate this and just have different versions of it, we can take this, copy and paste it, ungroup them. So you right click it and you ungroup. And we're going to split them up again. So we go ahead and just put your X, put it over there. You're going to give it a little bit more space so I can fit it without having to move the other one. And then we move this bad boy right there, trying to find its middle. Boom. So you can further take this and just to make sure that they're nice and on the money. And again, all I did was just hit the plus button a couple thousand times right there. We can just, now that's perfectly in the middle, right? Or are my eyes deceiving me? No, it's not bad. So what we do is we regroup this. Well, actually, let me show you what we're going to do. Copy and paste. We have a third one. We're going to scale that down to 3. Actually, maybe 3.5. We're going to turn that bad boy white. And put it inside here. Going to do the same thing over here. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same idea right here. Now this one needs to be a little bigger, something 3.75. Then un poquito del blanco. Turn that white. Shout out to Walter White, click on that blue math. And bingo bango. And now we have that. And if you want to go even fancier, watch this. I mean, it really is unlimited what you can do with this. I'm definitely gonna have to put some background music or something. Gosh darn it. Okay. I don't know what that is, but I just thought of something. If you make a circle, make that black. Gonna go ahead and mess with the fill and stroke here, which it sounds so sexual, doesn't it? Fill and stroke coming at you live. But we're gonna go ahead and change the color to white. We're gonna make a perfect circle. And we're gonna go ahead and group all that. Now again, a little OD. A little OD. But it's just the different things that you can do, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. I mean, that was an example of just going crazy with it, but it really is just whatever you want to do. And on top of that, I really think specifically with the indie genre, we have such an example. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that horribleness. But for the indie genre, we have such a ability to be able to make our own crazy shit. So why not go for it? So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna break into what I'm gonna actually be targeting for my book. Well, I showed you was just kind of a proof of concept, an example, right? We're gonna get into what I'm thinking of. So I guess in a way, kind of a spoiler. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure the fill and stroke are, you know, filled. And the reason for it is the fill is the actual color of the block, and the stroke is the outline, basically. So you can choose to not have an outline or not have a fill, depending on how you want to do things. For now, we want both. And the reason for it is that when you have a fill and it's thick enough, and we're gonna, in order to make sure it's thick enough, we're gonna make it what, 2.5? Yeah. You can actually change the corners of it. And I'll show it just going a little bit deeper here. As you can see, you see how the corner is a little bit rounded now? Or I can make them cubed, you know, pointed. If I make a dashed line, I can change the points. You know, there's a whole bunch of different ways to keep on manipulating that. And it's just purely awesome, if I'm being completely honest. But for this point, we're just gonna have a straight line. And as far as the debate, I actually think I'll have it cornered off like that. That's not a bad look. So what we're going for is we're going for a sci-fi. We're going for a sci-fi here, look. Why am I talking like a weirdo? Sci-fi here, look. We're going for a sci-fi look here. Jesus. My talking is all out of scheme. What do you want? I just woke up, went right into recording because, you know, we have a duty out here, folks. And that duty is making shit that looks like duty. So we have a line around the edge of how we want it. Actually, I think when we actually scale it, we'll need to be just a little bit longer. So we'll keep it there. And again, I'm making it very big, but we'll scale it down when it actually gets down to the point. Now, I was thinking of almost a crop looking circle type of thing. So we're gonna go with that. Again, we're gonna make this a perfect circle. And just to get it out the way, we're gonna make this one of these. And we're gonna make the fill, I mean, the outline, I guess, in the sense, a little bit bigger. 2.5 seems good. I'm gonna put that bad boy right there. Okay. Now, if this is in the middle or not, I do not care. Now, you see how that line goes over it? We could easily make it go over the circle, go over that by just hitting shift, clicking on it first, obviously, so having it selected, shift, and then using the page up on your numpad. And of course, you want to act like this. Why you gotta be so rude? I hate you, motherfucker. Wait, but what is it? Why are you doing that? That's odd. Mucho auto. Very auto. Huh. Why I gotta be like this? I said, why I gotta be like that? Oh, okay. That's why. Oh my Gugani. Well, anyway, of course. You know, the worst thing that I hate the most is that I don't edit these goddamn videos. And that shit happens, I tell you. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste, get 3 more out there. And I'll show you why in un segundo. El segundo? And same thing with this bad boy right here. Wow. Then we're going to use these little X's right here, the plus and minus at the top, in order to get it in line with how we want it. Now, again, with the little plus and minus feature, beautiful thing we can do is we can actually get it in the center. You see how they're actually not in the center? We can just use this little Y, plus and minus, get it right on our money. You see that? Perfect. Do the same thing right here. But why even do that? And then we can just go ahead and copy the same exact number. And put it right on in. Right on India. Right on India. Right on India. Right on India. We're gonna go ahead and scale this bitch down to what? 20? And move it in the middle. Okay, maybe 15 actually. And again, we can just use the same tools to bring it down. That's actually pretty in the middle. Wow, look at that. Yeah, look at that. That's on the money. Hi-ho River. I mean, that sounds pretty. It's pretty on the loop. Not bad. So we can do that again, copy and paste. Take the same Y. Put it to about where you want it. Copy and paste the Y. And again, we're just zoom in order to get it fine point exactly at where you want it. Bad. Not bad. So you have this thing, which looks kind of odd. Still not really how I wanted it. Still not how I wanted it. So what we can do is we can start cutting things in half randomly. To do that, we just put the stroke to 0, the fill to high, make the just plain white box. Sometimes the box disappears on you. So what you do is you make the box color for a second, and you move it around and you put it right here. We're gonna change that back to white. Oh, you know what? I just understood what I did before. I made it opaque. And what we can do is we can use the same tools again, the shift down, in order to choose what parts we want to omit and what parts we don't. So for the example of this, I can put this entire line behind. Oh, again, I didn't actually mess with the opaqueness of those circles. So what we do is we just make it blanco. Perfect. So you see, I actually had made a mistake before, and this is a tutorial video, LOL. So now we have 3 weird looking eyeballs. So I guess if you're into that, you can use that as a text break. But again, we're gonna go a little bit further. We're gonna try to make some crop circles here. You know what? We can even kind of mess with the thing here. And again, if you when you move the angles, when you move a shape in order to angle it, if you press down the control while you're using the little corner thing here, it will snap to 15 degrees just for ease. Instead of, you going crazy with trying to find the actual angle, it'll just snap to, 45, 90s, simple things. So we're going to use that tool here in order to get this, just a weird little shape. We're going for kind of odd right here, right? What we're going to do is we're going to make it so that this line actually goes above. But we're gonna make it that this goes above as well. But now we just lost a goddamn circle. So now we need to make sure this bitch is all the way up. Wow. Yeah, see? And that is how you get some weird looking crop circles. Now we can do the same thing over here, and we just copy, same thing, copy and paste. And what we do is, even though you can't see, is we want this to be mirrored. So we're gonna flip this horizontally. And you see perfectly, when we bring it right here, it's gonna be the same old thingy. So again, for this effect, we just click on this inner circle all the way up to the moon. We bring this bad boy here. Well, we can also just bring it down. And look at that. And if you want to get real odd, we can just make a skinny one. Place it right in the center. Make it a little more skinny, for being honest. And the same deal. We just put this sucker higher up. Now again, a little odd, a little unorthodox. Don't think it's some, I'm happy with it fully. It's a cool looking little text break, but I don't think I'm going to be utilizing it in the book, but it's not a bad start. I mean, again, we take this, we just group it up, Now, I personally like to double group, and the reason for it is because you see what the hell just happened here. Oh, okay. So you need to make sure that you get everything. Okay. And again, I'd like to double group just in case. And what we do is we just, again, copy and paste just so you have, two copies in case you mess with one a little too far. And we bring this puppy on down to what, 25? Wow. Again, not bad. Not necessarily what I'm looking for. Isa. Not necessarily what I'm looking for. Isa. But not bad. Not bad. You see, from far, it's not too bad of a look. We zoom in at the page level. It's not a bad look. Isa. Oisy. But no, still not really anything. Well, I can't say anything. It's not a bad look, honestly, but we're gonna go with something else. Maybe a moon type of look. So again, 25. 25. Make it black this time. And we're going to copy this. Now stay with me, because I think this one might be a little badass. We're going to make one of these. Oh, shit. So Control Z fixes everything. Gonna make sure that that's locked. Locked to make sure that you keep it in the same height and width that you want it. So if you have something that's a perfectly symmetrical and how you want it, when you lock it, it'll make sure that it scales it down to that exact degree. So we're gonna bring that down to 22.5 and change it to white. And we're gonna put it right here. Offset it just a poquito to the point. Actually, it might have to go in reverse and bring this up perhaps to 27.5. Yeah, that works. Now we do the same thing right here. So we start off with a little moon. Bigger moon. Just to keep it ordered, we'll put them right here. And again, we're gonna go for the centerness right here. We could put it to the side or up like that in order for effect. We're gonna go for just almost eclipse type of things instead. A little bigger. Again, same thing, copy and paste. A little bigger. And then for this one, we can make this one a little bigger as well, 27.5. What we do is we group these up individually at first. And we use a square. Now we're going to delete this. We're going to make it black and we're going to use it just as a reference point so we can move it down. So we're going to go ahead, son of a beach. And you see, that is why you double group. Because we don't know when motherfuckers be playing with you. So we bring that down to the Y and we make it touch as much as we can. Okay. Same thing here. Okay. Same thing here. Man, I gotta say, it is weird making these type of videos. I kind of really like just working. So it's kind of odd having to force myself like, oh, you should probably talk, you bum. You should probably say some words. You know how they say, hablar. You need to hablar more, my friend. So you can also use the inner mouse or wheel thing, clicking out and clicking in order to zoom. But we have this kind of phase of the moon type of thing going here. Weirdly ordered, but we can again just use the X's here in order to scrimp and put them a little closer to one another. Work on spacing. And what we do is we do this, copy, paste, flip horizontally, group, move as a group, and we have a phase of the sun type of looking thing here. And we just go ahead, group, make sure that our handy old buddy right there is turned on. And we bring down to, I don't know, 25. This one might need a little bit bigger. 50. That one is a little funky. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that one. Again, one cool little thing is we can just add a stroke here in order to make it thicker. Oof, I lied. I mess around with that too much in order to make a stroke there. For the most part, when you bring something in, you can add a stroke at almost all times in order to just make it thicker. For example, I can do it for the text here, and it just makes the text a lot thicker. But man, oh my God, I just realized how far I went into this episode, but this is about where we're gonna end it. I have a lot more work to do on my end, but for the most part, this is just a kind of rudimentary thing to get the ball rolling on what you can do, the different routes that you can go. I mean, I just walked through 3 different ways we can do it, basically. We have the little basic here with the little triangle mountain rage thing, which honestly, if we're being completely honest, is probably the best looking one that I've made. I mean, it just is kind of perfect, fits, does exactly what you want it to. If you feel it's a little too dark, you can even just do a little thing right here and just, bring it down to other levels. I mean, it is the easy peasy lemon squeezy, no problem at all. But then you also have your a little more unorthodox one, the crop circle one. I actually think I'm going to wind up on something more along these lines. I'm just not sure how yet. I like the idea of the crop circle kind of look. I don't think we're quite there yet with these. So we're gonna definitely work on it, and I'll definitely keep everybody updated podcast wise. Everything goes. This is gonna be the end of today's episode, A.R.'s Tales, aka the A.R.T podcast, motherfuckers. I am A.R. Mirabal. Wow, that's actually funny. I just realized I went through the entire episode without saying a single curse. So we're really even talking, and then I have to go and ruin it. It's like all I care about is smut. But this is it. This is still have a lot more work to do on my end. And next episode, I will want to talk about, the big hurdle, the big bad boy, Wicked Witch of the West right here, which is chapter design as well. Chapter interior design. So we're going to be covering all those little fun tidbits of life and whatnot in the next episode. And I think I'm going to be kind of changing up the format a little bit here. This one was a little rough, okay? But for the most part, this is going to be it. We're going to be focusing on these Solocast episodes, working on little technical aspects of the book, just little things that we normally wouldn't talk about. And honestly, I'm hella excited. This is it's not gonna turn out too poorly. I literally just, if you're new to the podcast, I literally just turned this thing on, got to working, and an hour later we got 3 mock-ups. Am I gonna use them? No, but it's a good rolling start. And now that I have this open, I can kind of think about it as I go through all my edits, make little doodles of it, digest more, look into some books of mine that are my favorite. And then as we piece these together, I mean, the biggest thing here when it comes to making this, as I just showed you, isn't technical know-how, isn't knowing the software, it isn't anything like that. There's no reason to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on outsourcing these type of things. It's really easy to do. You just need a vision for what it is that you want. That's the hardest thing. And when you get professional, that's really what you're paying for, if we're being completely honest. It's that vision. So if you really are 100% in the air for that, there's definitely a great venue for that. There's a beautiful host of people you can find on Instagram that will help you do that. But if you do have an idea for yourself and you have a vision of what you want to do, or at least the inkling of something, you can just play around with it. I just showed you right now, easy, no problem. And tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you have any problems, drop a comment, send an email request. I don't know. Just probably don't show up in person to my house. That'll be pretty weird, because then I'd have to question how you got that information. We have to have a sword fight. You do something to me, now I got to hunt you down. It's a whole Kill Bill adventure. You got to learn how to whistle. I don't look good in an eye patch. We don't want to do this. You don't want to see me walking around in a nurse outfit. You don't want to do that. Have to drive around the country in a truck called the Pussy Wagon, but then that would probably be PC. So what the Dick Caban? No. Maybe Pussy Wagon would actually be. How would you make that PC? Anyway, on to the misadventures of AR for next week. And as always, Friday we have a group cast coming up for you. Well, at least I believe we do. I hope we don't. And then as always, Monday we have another awesome peer interview for the podcast. This is A.R.'s Tales, A.R.T podcast. I am A.R. Mirabal. Said that twice this episode already, but what do you want from me? It is the end of the episode. I will catch up with you next time. I don't know why I do that accent.